Hey, friends out there, this is Thursday, January 12th, 2023, and it is just about 5:16 in the morning here in Northern California. And as usual today I'll talk about a few different things. I hope everybody's doing as well as they can in a crazy ass world run by maniacal, money-loving madmen bent on misery for the masses. Anyhow, friends, it is a crazy ass world, and the reason for that is because the people at the uppermost echelons, at the very top, tippy top, running the show, pulling the strings, they are crazy, and they fit the definition. Anybody who subdues their conscience is crazy. It's like not only selling your soul, but willing to give it away. It's like no relevance at all. And that's why they run the show, is because they don't care about conscience. They don't care about soul. They don't give any consideration to where they're going from here, the kind of place they're going to be found worthy and deserving of going to. Normal people do. They consider that possibility at least. That, there's a reason why you behave ethically and morally, and it has far more to do with conscience than any of the laws of man. But man, the secular world religious system, would have you believe that that's, what you should be concerned about is abiding by the law, conforming, complying to the laws of man only. And that's the concern, is that there's punishment. There's a penalty. So it's like for murder, for killing somebody, they've got the death penalty. So it is a deterrent, they say, to crime. And in a way, it's true. I mean, you put money in your parking meter because it's a deterrent to you getting a ticket, right? That's a law, right? That's rules, regulations, laws. It's all part and parcel, right? So what I'm doing here, I'm just pointing out that the laws of man mean very little. We all know, it's in your face, prima facie, that they're constantly in flux. They're constantly changing. And many of them are very arbitrary and capricious. They have no basis. You could say, well, but they're based on morality. Yes, a lot of them are based on morality. Yes, and that's what's so confusing and confounding, is trying to decipher, distinguish between what is sound rule, sound regulation, sound law, and what is not. And what's even harder to decipher and figure out is where there should be rules, there should be regulations, there should be laws based on morality and ethical concerns, where there aren't any. And it's really sick and twisted. And the reason is because evil men want it sick and twisted. They don't want success for the masses. They don't want prosperity for the masses, even though the masses are every bit as deserving of it as anybody else. I'm not taking from anybody's prosperity. Oh, no, I believe in equality. I believe in utter and absolute fairness. And I just thank God that I can gladly exclaim and proclaim that it ain't me, babe, that's keeping you down, that's obstructing your absolute, total, complete freedom. Not me. And the things I speak of have everything to do with money. Money. That's how we are being controlled, is with money. They would have nothing if they didn't have control over the money. And it's been going on for thousands of years. The only time there's been periods of reprieve when the masses got a break is after there was a big revolution, a big bloody revolution, using the French Revolution as an example. Okay, probably the exemplification of what I'm trying to convey here. But we're living in a different era now, and I firmly believe that this big change that we're looking at, the next big change for the masses, is going to be done nonviolently. You see, the reason that the other revolts and revolutions didn't have any staying power is because they utilized violence. And God opposes violence, the use of violence to get your way. You understand? So we could be very lucky that we're living at the tail end of that period. You see, it's not working for these people anymore. I really believe God is injecting himself in a very tangible, real way through this agency we know of as holy angels. Okay? And with all these testimonials about how they're, these crafts, UFOs, are showing up outside nuclear missile bases and are quite capable of instantly deactivating all the missiles. This is coming out of the horse's mouth, high-ranking military that are saying these things. I'm not just making stuff up here. That's a big deal. Do you think they like you to know that, to believe that? That God is real and that holy angels are real and they have that kind of power to stop violence on the earth? They say, no, you're not going to do that again. You did that once and that's over. That's done. That ship sailed. That's yesteryear. You're not using nukes ever again. You think they like you to know that? Or do you think they like you in fear? They've all got the underground cities built, the continuity of government thing, right? So these leaders, right, the political figures, the executive and in the Congress and the Senate, the top money lovers, the printers, the money printers, they're all in cahoots together here. They all work together. The politicians and the money printers have everything to do with each other. They collude. They don't talk about it, but it is collusion. Putting us in debt and making those that can least afford it pay that debt. You think that's not the definition of evil? That's it. I mean, the Democrats, they want to tax. That's baloney. Now we're all figuring that out. They're not fixing the problem. They're not paying down the national debt by cutting spending, cutting their paychecks, setting an example. No, they're in cahoots together, the Republicans and the Democrats, on the big issues, and the big issues always concern money. But the last thing these people want is exactly what God wants for humanity, for the masses. Freedom. That's the whole idea. That's the whole object here, is the captives being set free from the hands of these evil men that are controlling us through money. You see how important it is to get off the junk? And we could do that. That could happen gradually, automatically, organically. That could happen if we had any semblance of true capitalism. Supply and demand capitalism. Okay, what's the whole point of innovating? Making our lives easier. What's the whole point if we don't all benefit from it? But we're not all benefiting from it. Burden has increased my whole life since the assassination of JFK, who was an egalitarian. He was a good American. He believed in fairness and equality. Since they killed him because he was getting rid of the Federal Reserve, that's my opinion. That's a fact. But it's my opinion that was the motivation that got him dead. That got him killed, at least his body, right? Because that's all they are, is bodies. You can't kill the spirit. We're taught in Scripture that, hey, once the evil men kill the body and there's nothing more they can do. See, they're in a predicament. They know it. They know because deep down inside they are believers and they fear, but their God is Lucifer. I mean, they've sold their souls. It's sad. I mean, not every one of them. A lot of people are inadvertently evil. They just don't know it. Well, I was just going with the way of the world, the secular world religion, and I just had faith in them because they're always winning. So, I'm political and I believe in rah, my party, and yeah, my team, and yeah, it's sickening. It's just sickening to have any faith in the system. Belief, trust. Oh no, God is the only one we can trust, friends. Like, get your opinion from God. You ask God. You want the opinion on what's right and wrong on any issue? You ask God. And as far as laws go, if we just followed God's law, the golden rule, treating others the way we want to be treated, we wouldn't have the problems we have. None of them. None of them. All the laws of man, all the laws of God would fall into place. The Ten Commandments would fall into place. If we just did that simple thing, like Christ said, my yoke is easy, my load is light. It's easy to please God. He doesn't expect a lot from us. He knows we're infirm, we're pitiable and pathetic, wretched, blind, naked. He knows it. We walk around with so much baggage and crap just from the fall of man, the original sin, and the curse that befell the earth and us, and childbearing pains increased. Men earning their bread by the sweat of their brow and all this. That's organic. That stuff's across the board. It affects everybody. That's why I don't complain about that stuff. That stuff you got to take to the Lord in prayer. You don't like death? I don't either. You don't like disease? I don't either. And chances are the vast majority of people would agree. We're all in line with that. But remember, those things are affecting the rich and poor alike. The rain falls on the just and the unjust alike. So we're all facing that crap. But the stuff I'm complaining about is the stuff that's selectively oppressing people, burdening people. Okay? That's slavery. That's what slavery is, right? You pick people, well, they're black. Let's pick them. They're of this belief. Let's pick on them. They're poor. Let's pick on them. You understand? So that stuff makes me crazy, man. And this world is chock full of that kind of crap. It's just selective oppression. And it's just mean-spirited. It's evil. Okay, it's like we're not going to share with you. We know that your job is every bit as important as anybody else's job. It's imperative to the welfare of society. But, well, you don't have much education. It doesn't take much education to do that job. And it doesn't take much skill to do that job. Yeah, it takes time, but hey, who cares? What's your time work? It's nothing. You're making some money. Hey, shut up. You're surviving. You're paying your cost of living that we put on your shoulders. Even though we didn't give you life, we're going to charge you to keep your life. The cost of living. It's got a dollar sign on it. And these people did it. And they're evil. I'm telling you, the entire world system, this religious, it's a bad religion. Bad. But do we talk about it? No. No. Not in these terms. And all the laws, there should be rules and regulations. Say, well, this is unfair. This is blatantly unfair. We see what's going on in society. The wealth imbalance. Minimum wage workers being blamed for inflation. I mean, the absurdity is just palpable. It's sickening. Makes me want to vomit. It really does. Wages, that's a two-way street. I mean, if your cost of living is going down, friends, wages can go down. It doesn't matter as long as you're still getting ahead. That's the whole idea. That's how you define progress. Is your burden getting heavier or lighter? That's the price you pay. That's the cost of living. But when they inflate the cost of living, and particularly on essential human needs like food and housing, potable water, your energy needs, they know they've got you by the throat. That's control, man. These are freaking control freaks. They need to keep people enslaved, and that's how they do it. They normalize slavery right under our noses. This is what they've done. The cost of living, when I grew up as a child, you understand what a departure it is from how it is today. When on a minimum wage job, you could have dignity. You could live a middle-class life, be a homeowner. Your wife could stay home and take care of the family. And you could comfortably pay your mortgage on your house with disposable income on $1 an hour. That could be 50 cents an hour now, but you'd have a higher standard of living. That's progress. That's progress. Do you understand? So it's maddening to me to see all this happening, and nobody's talking like me. I want to hear more people talking like me, man. I want to say, I agree, you're right. Let's demand justice from these idiot politicians, these liars, these cheaters, these thieves. They're murderers. Do you know that people are suffering needlessly? Sometimes dying out in the cold while there's a glut of housing in America, and we're spending $50 billion a year to house poor people that can't afford their housing costs. Do you understand? This is reality. This is the state of affairs in America in the 21st century. Do you understand what I know about real estate? Okay? And that's extensive. I studied it. I went to school for it. I know it. That if you took away that $50 billion, the Housing Authority, the HUD, Housing and Urban Development, that Section 8 money, if you took that $50 billion away right now, today, that you'd see housing dry up. You'd see housing prices plummet as landlords scramble to be capitalistic and compete. Say, I'm going to keep one way or another, I'm going to keep my